Hey, food storage guy here, and I want to talk to you about the food storage guide video that you see up on your screen here. In order to prepare for an emergency situation, many people really want to prepare for a crisis, and one of the best ways to do that is to make sure you have plenty of food in case there is a crisis. I think we all know what happens whenever there is an emergency or a crisis situation that comes to town. For example, let's say a snowstorm comes to town. What do most people do? They run to the grocery store and stock up on foods, and before you know it, your shelves look like this. But what if there was a greater crisis? Either a terrorist attack or some financial collapse happened, and people would be panicking and probably running to the store because they realize that they may not be able to get food for a while. And so that's what I want to talk to you about today is what are some items that you can stock up on before they're gone? Well, there's a lot of things you can stock up on, but just to simplify it, let's just talk about the three items that you really need to stock up on, three main areas before a food crisis or a crisis situation hits. So, first of all, realize that many people really are preparing for an emergency situation. If you just look around, you go into any, let's say, Sam's Club or Costco warehouse or any of these places out there, you're starting to see food storage containers or food storage buckets with MREs or some kind of dehydrated food in them for emergency situations. Well, those warehouse clubs would not be selling that stuff unless a lot of people were really thinking about this. So, with so many people preparing for an emergency situation, the problem is there's a lot of misinformation and confusion out there, and it's really hard to know what to do. Well, in this video, again, what I want to talk to you about are three items that you can stock up on now. So, let's just get right to it. Obviously, one of the very first essential items you need is water. And you can really do this one of two ways. You could empty out your soda bottles, and depends on what part of the country you're in. Some people call it pop, some people call it soda. But either way, the Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper, Pepsi, when you get done with those, rinse them out with some hot water and soap. Swish it around and rinse it out probably about 3 times, especially when you start rinsing. And then you have a plastic container to hold water that will last quite a while. And this plastic is safe for doing this in. You don't have to go out and buy anything. And it works. It works really well. So that's a cheaper way to do it if you're looking to cut costs on food storage. Another way to do it is, of course, to stock up on bottled water at the store. Especially if you haven't had a lot of time to save water, because it does take time to do the pop bottle method or the soda bottle method. So if you haven't had time to do that, then go out and get some bottled water, at least to get started on storing water. So how much water do you need? I mean, people say water is an essential element, and of course you need it, but how much? Well, generally speaking, you need at least 2 liters per person each day. And, excuse me, as I mentioned before, the cheapest is to empty 2-liter soda bottles out, like I've talked to you about before. But as far as any water, whether it's soda, bottled water, whichever method you use, you want to store it in a cool, dark place below 72 degrees. And the reason for that is you want your water to be fresh, but you also don't want a bacteria growing in your water over time. So if it's kept below 72 degrees, the chances of that diminishes. And also if it's in a dark place, it diminishes as well. Now, that was the first element, was the water. The second element that you really need to stock up on are canned foods. And these are great for emergency food storage. The great thing about canned foods is it requires very little prep time. The shelf life is usually a year or longer on most of them, and that's what you want to look for. Obviously, you don't want to buy canned foods that are going to expire in the next couple of months, but try to look for a shelf life of a year or longer. And here's a real secret: buy what you normally eat anyway. A lot of people, when they start this food storage thing and they start stocking up, they'll go out there and they'll just buy anything they can and say, well, it's cheap, or I'm going to buy this, and I'll go out and buy several cans of Spam because if it's an emergency situation, I'll eat it. But see, that's the problem. If it's an emergency situation, you'll eat it. If it's not something that you would normally eat anyway, then don't buy it. Just don't buy it, because there's really no sense in that. There's nothing worse than coming to an end of your 1 year of food storage and having several cans that you're just going to have to get rid of. It's just a terrible waste of money. So what you want to do is rotate the cans out. If you normally eat canned corn, then buy canned corn. And then, whenever you buy a new item, use the older item first, replace it with the new item. So obviously, that way you can rotate your food out and it'll never really expire. Another thing you want to do, the third item, would be dry goods. Stock up on dry goods. Now this requires a little more prep time. The shelf life is longer on dry goods, and these would include rice, beans, pasta, macaroni and cheese. Also, dehydrated milk is important to have, as well as dehydrated fruits and vegetables. You also want to stock up on some dry goods or on some items that require no cooking. These are items that you can eat quickly, and you can include energy bars for breakfast, almonds, trail mix, peanut butter, instant coffee for your morning shot of caffeine. Those would be excellent goods to stock up on, because if you're in an emergency situation, you may be traveling, not have time to cook, and you just want something to eat right then and there until you can think about where you're at and what to do. Well, I'd like to invite you to watch a free video. It's called 37 Food Items That You Can't Get in the Coming Disaster and May Not Survive Without. It's a really good video, and I'd recommend that you visit our website while you're watching this video right now. Just click on that link in the description box right below this website, and it's the one that looks like this. It's called foodcrisisguide.com/sp3/. And on this video, you're going to find out some more tips, some more information on food storage, and probably why you need to stock up now, and exactly some items that you can stock up on while they're still available. Well, that's it for today. I really appreciate you watching, and I really hope this helps, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.